Hi, I'm Whitney.
And I'm Taylor, and we're the Ghost Sisters.
Woo.
Fancy music. So, we're back, and both of us are somewhat healthy for once.
Somewhat.
Somewhat. We're making it.
We're making it.
This sem-
Hey.
hey, this semester has been fucking stupid, like for both of us so
Agree.
far. I thought this semester would be
Agree.
better, and for some reason it's worse. So,
I've been counting down the weeks, but then I remembered that spring break exists. And so now I only have 2 weeks.
mhm,
And that's much better than 9 weeks.
yes.
So I have 2 weeks and then I'll resume the rest of the countdown afterwards.
That's when you told me 9 weeks, I was like, "I don't fucking wanna hear that. That's too much." Having in my
And if any of you guys are in school, do you have 9 weeks left? Cause fuck that shit. Fuck.
'cause fuck. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure any of my students that are listening to this are like,
But but doctor,
"But doctor." So,
doctor. Anyways,
yeah.
yeah,
So,
cool.
we are going to be doing the next part of our Too Close to Home series, and Whitney, I am so sorry to tell you, there are no haunted things in Dimmitt or Welch, Texas. I was unable to find anything.
I mean, it kind of makes sense.
They're so
It's
small.
just dirt. Like
Yeah,
unless dirt is haunted, like it's just dirt.
yeah. Yeah, and even then, like,
So
I reached out to mom and dad and was like, "Hey, do you guys know of anything haunted in Dimmitt or Welch?" And they were like, "No." I was like,
they're like
"Oh."
people don't even actually live there. They commute there. So
Exactly.
God,
So then I
which is a
went.
lie. People do live there,
Yeah,
but
people do live there, yeah. So then I went, "Well, shit, what am I gonna do?" And I decided that we're gonna go to college. So,
hey.
hey! And as I started looking into it, I realized we can only go to one college for one episode. So, guess where we're headed? There's only 2 places that you
Yeah, it
can
was like there's I mean, technically I have been to so many colleges that
true.
you know,
That is true, I didn't even think about that, yeah, so,
I've been to a lot.
yeah, you have. Well, where is the one that you did the thing at?
Sam Houston State University.
We are going to Huntsville, Texas. So,
Pew 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 pew.
Huntsville is incredibly haunted, apparently, and
Yeah,
not
I
just.
told you that.
I know, yeah, and that's not just because of the fact that there's a fucking prison there, and there's a
But,
university, but there's other
you
shit
know,
too.
I was gonna say it's also where Sir Sam Houston went to and
Mhm.
did things. I don't know history, but like it was a historical site, and you should know that whenever you're driving there and there's a giant fucking statue of a man.
So the statue is the picture I used for the cover art because I was like, "This
Great.
is quintessential, yeah, Huntsville, Texas."
It honestly is cuz like
Yeah,
driving there, I would see that and I would be like, "Okay, I'm almost there."
yeah,
Like it was maybe another 15 minutes after that and I was like, "All right, cool."
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, geographically, Huntsville, Texas is located in the East Texas Piney Woods, which is in Walker County, and it's about 70 miles north of Houston, for those of you who don't know where Huntsville is. It has a population of 47,997 as of the 2023 census. So, it's a pretty small
Damn.
town, all things considered, which we're not
I mean,
surprised about. They just got a target. So,
lies. They got
mhm,
a Target while I was there,
that's
okay?
true. I feel like just
And that was
I am perpetually stuck in 2011. So,
gross. That was almost 15 years ago. Ugh,
yes, it sure
gross.
was.
Fuck. That was disgusting.
Yeah. So,
Aw, you suck.
in all fairness, I graduated from college 15 years ago too, so
I know, but I'm younger than you, so we're
I
just
know.
gonna
Yeah.
everyone know I won.
Her whole thing was that she wanted to graduate college before me. We graduated 1 day apart, and I graduated first, but she graduated early, so
There was a competition, and she didn't know
I
it
didn't
existed.
know. I didn't know we were
So,
competing.
it was just Taylor, like, floated around college and was like, "What am I doing with my life? Ah," and I went to college and was like, "Fuck this shit," and I got it done, and I got it done early, and somehow she still got to graduate before me.
I
But time-wise, I won.
You won, yes. In all fairness, I changed my major 5 times, so but I wouldn't have become the geologist I am if I hadn't done that, so, yeah.
I mean, you couldn't have figured out that you liked rock sooner? Like,
No, apparently I had to go through the process.
I mean, in all fairness, I still won, okay?
You
I'm gonna
did, yes.
preface by saying I still won. I did change my career halfway through my life up to this point. My life is still, like, going. It's not like I'm dying. But halfway through my current life, I did change my career and am
Yes.
still working on that. So, like, I get why it took you so long, but I did
But
win.
she was just like, "I'm graduating before this hoe."
And on top of that, I had emergency surgery
You did.
a month before we graduated, and the dude was like, I was like, "So when can I go back to school?" And he was like, "Oh, in like 4 weeks." And I was like, "Fuck that shit. I graduate in 4 weeks." And he was like, "My recommendation is 4 weeks." And I was like, "You can suck it." So,
Yeah.
you know,
Dad
yeah.
dad drove her to college every day.
It was super sweet. He made croissants, um, and they were delicious. Even though they didn't turn out like actual croissants, they were still delicious. I mean, it's
Mhm.
bread and butter, y'all. And then yeah, he drove me to college every day and sat in his truck and worked. And I hobbled across campus, and people were like, "Run, Whitney!" And I was like, literally as fast as I can go. I'll meet you there. Cool. But yeah, I
And
won. I
to
graduated
preface
before Taylor.
this, or to give some context here, they lived like an hour and a half away. So
Yeah, yeah,
they were
yeah.
driving her in an hour and a half and back an hour and a half every single day. So
Which, I
it's
mean, to be honest, with where I am right now, that is a
about the
normal
same.
commute
Yeah,
for just a regular job.
yeah.
So,
And the reason that they had to do this was because her apartment was on the 3rd floor and she wasn't allowed to go up and downstairs. So
I couldn't live by myself. Apparently, that trend has stuck. So, yeah.
so okay. So after that rundown
We'll
of our
move on.
college
Yeah.
experiences, so
It's only one
Huntsville,
of our
I know,
experiences, but
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So Huntsville itself was founded by a man named Pleasant Gray. That I was like,
Wow.
yeah, I was like, okay. He was a pioneer from Alabama who arrived in 1833, and he established a trading post in the center of what would future be called Huntsville. And it was named after the Huntsville that is in Alabama. So originally, it was
So
part.
we didn't come first?
No, we didn't. Huntsville, Alabama came first. So
Rude as shit.
it was originally part of Mexico during this time. And a lot of the sediment was the sediment. Wow. A lot of the settlement.
Wait. It was wait, part of Mexico, but the man's name was Pleasant Gray?
Yes.
Pleasante
So
Greo? Like,
Alabama, Pleasant Gree.
I was like, I don't know how to
Ooh,
say
we
Pleasant
munchies.
Gray in
So
Spanish, but
I know how
it's
to
been
say
a time,
gray. It's
y'all.
gree. But
Gree, okay.
yeah. So Alabama. Yes, Alabama was originally US, and then he came from there into what was Mexico at the time. Are you looking up how to say Pleasant Gray?
Yeah, but I spelt it Spanish, not Spanish.
That's Spanish spinach. People are
Uh,
listening to this like unsubscribe.
Agradable? Agradable?
Okay.
Now, can you tell me how to pronounce it, please? I don't want to copy it. Fuck you. Ah. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Agradable.
Oh, okay.
Agradable. Gris. All right. That was fun. Okay.
I actually think it's Grease now, like Grease.
Fuck you.
But
God.
either way, you have done the thing. I'm proud of you. So,
Hold on. Hold on. It's happening. Wait, 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 wait. How do you spell gray? Is it Grey or Gray?
depends on where you are. The Europeans spell it with an E, Americans spell it with an A, and this one is spelled with an A.
Clearly, I am European because I always spell it with an E.
I flip flop.
Anyways, it is gris agradable.
Oh gosh, okay.
Gris agradable. Anyways, every Spanish speaker is like, well, you fuck off already.
What's
Okay.
horrible is that I am like on day 412 of Spanish on Duolingo, so yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Google just caught up to me and all of a sudden just went gris agradable. Like, ah!
Okay.
Fuck.
So,
Okay.
this is originally part of Mexico during this time period, and basically Mexico was like, we will give you land grants if you will come and settle here. And this was their effort to populate their northern territories against Native American raids and the US, which is making its way further and further south at this point. So
Mhm.
the rules to this were the settlers were required to become Mexican citizens, they had to convert to Catholicism, and they had to comply with Mexican laws. That being said, Mexico was so desperate that they really weren't enforcing this very much. They were just like, if you'll come here and stop the raids, we're cool. So
Fair.
at this point, we have Sam Houston come in. About 1840s is when he moved into Huntsville, or what was currently called Huntsville, and he lived in what was originally the Wood House and with his family, and then he moved to the Steamboat House, and we'll talk about the Steamboat House in a little bit. He was basically one of the key figures for the fight for independence for Mexico. So, in the event that, or whenever they did gain independence for Mexico, it became the Republic of Texas, and he served as the president of the Republic of Texas, a U.S. senator, and the governor of Texas. And he is buried in Huntsville. He passed away in the Steamboat
Sounds like
House.
a conflict of interest to be all of those things. Like to
Yeah,
be the
like
president
president and
and the
then senator
senator.
and then governor. Like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
at that point just call yourself king of Republic of Texas. Like
I am king of Texas. Yeah. In addition to Sam Houston and just everything with him, we have the educational facilities and the prison. So the late 19th and early 20th centuries showed the formation of the Sam Houston Normal Institute, which I'll explain what that is in just a little bit. And that later became Sam
is there a Sam Houston Abnormal Institute?
I
Abby
literally
Normal?
I put it in my notes as opposed to the Abnormal Institute, but that later became Sam Houston State University. And then we
The
have
the normal one, right?
the
Not the
normal,
abnormal one.
yeah, the normal
Okay.
one. And then we have the Texas State Penitentiary at Huntsville, which is nicknamed the Walls Unit, and there's a reason for that. We'll talk about it in a little bit.
I know.
You know,
I know.
it was established in 1849, and it is the oldest state prison in Texas and home to Old Sparky, which we'll talk about too.
And it's
So,
hot as fuck.
yes, it is.
The bricks and everything, I know we're gonna get more into it, but like those bricks in the middle of the summer just absorb the heat.
Yes.
And so like even just driving by it with your windows up, you can feel like a distinct temperature change. And
Yes.
you're just like, fucking Christ. So,
Ah,
anyways, continue.
no, you're good. So that is the very brief history of this. And I kept the history of it pretty brief because we're going to talk about some other areas. And that's going to kind of get into a little more history. So we're
Okay.
going to start with Bowden Road, or what was also known as Demon's Road. Whitney's
Uh
already nodding.
Bo-
Bowden.
Bowen.
Oh, okay. Bowen Road?
Bowen?
I
I
have
believe.
Bowden. I said Bowden. I think it's Bowden.
Oh, I guess it's Bowden.
Okay. So I was like, this is what I
I always
found.
maybe my brain just ignored the D and I thought it was Bowen Road.
Well, so we have a.
I'm
Are you getting it confused with the Bowen that's near me?
no.
No, you've just always called it Bowen.
Or maybe so. I don't fucking know
I
anymore. My
don't know.
brain doesn't
It,
work. Anyways, it's
yeah.
Bowden. It's
Yes.
Bowden.
Yes, and it is nicknamed Demon's Road, and this is located in southwest Huntsville, and it leads to Martha Chapel Cemetery. So there's no documented history about Bowden Road and why it's become the thing it is and that kind of thing, but let's get into the hauntings on it.
Now I'm
So
like, man, my college life was really boring.
you
Like
could have been ghost
I,
hunting like
I didn't
crazy.
do anything out there. I mean, I did things. I just didn't do these things.
So I actually think that like you and I we should just find a hotel room up there and then just like for a weekend just go hit these different spots and do this. Cuz
Okay.
there's a bunch of
Are you
stuff.
free this weekend?
It's Saturday, my dude.
Next weekend. I'm
Oh,
already a week ahead. Fuck.
what is next weekend? I should be free next weekend. The different things that you experience on Bowden Road are, of course, Hell's Gate. There's got to be a Hell's Gate in every city, and
Of of course.
of course.
Why
So
wouldn't it be?
the thought is that this particular Hell's Gate was the path that was once used during the civil can't talk during the Civil War to march Union prisoners to their execution, and they think that the prisoners haunt the trail. So people do see apparitions in this area along the road. They will suddenly appear, and then whenever you see them, they'll disappear. They will be touched. People feel like people are grabbing them. Some of them will be pushed. They have the sensation of being watched or followed, but whenever they turn around, nobody's there. Uh, Disembodied voices. Uh, they'll also hear giggles, which honestly gives me the hebos.
I don't know why that struck me as funny, just like it's all these like hardened men, and then you hear like
Well, what's also horrifying with that is that the spirits of children are also seen. Childlike apparitions, or they will hear the sounds of children laughing or playing, and then it vanishes without a trace. Uh,
But why?
so Martha's cemetery, Martha's Chapel Cemetery, is a home to child graves and spirits. You also see them in there. Um, They will also have unexplained photographs. They'll get orbs, which we all know orbs are kind of whatever. Mists, which could be fog or something, or somebody smoking off camera. Or they'll actually see figures in the shadows and stuff. Um, there have been some
Wait. They see figures in the shadows, or they see shadows that are figures?
both.
Okay. I was like,
Yes.
those are two different things.
Yes.
Two different things.
So they will also have some, they also have what's known as the red glowing eyes that will stare at you from the darkness, and they get
Mothman.
no, I wish. No. This is said to be a malevolent entity. And whenever they see them, there's a feeling of dread. And then when someone goes to look, there's nothing there and there's no sound of anything going or coming. Uh,
I'm like, I'm pretty sure we could get Will to go with us.
okay, let's go.
He'll hear this episode and be like, no.
No, I never agreed to
Uh,
that.
I mean,
So
fine, but no. Anyways,
we also have some aggressive I put supernatural national. Okay, supernatural encounters where entities have been known to follow people home and people have experienced bad luck, strange occurrences, physical harm, or scratches on their body after leaving Demon's Road. So
okay.
apparently it is super duper crazy. And I'm
And they
gonna
like,
go ahead.
like they get home to like wherever they live, or like are still within Huntsville.
They get home to wherever they live, whether they came from
Hmm.
out of town or out of state or anything.
Where did they come
So
from?
where did they go?
Where did they come from?
Cotton Eye Joe.
De- Demon Eye Road.
Demon Eye Road. So, next place that we're going to go is Huntsville State Park. And Huntsville State Park is located the actual physical. Yeah.
I was like, "Have I been there?"
You probably have. You
You
probably
mean
just
like the
didn't know it.
national state park, like the forest and everything, right? Not
So
like a park with, like, swings and shit?
no, legit. So this is part of the Sam Houston National Forest. It's approximately 2,083 acres of the forest, and it's located off of I-45 on 565 Park Road 40 West.
'Kay.
Okay, so uh, for context here, Sam Houston National Forest is approximately 163,037 acres. So the forest itself is
And
gigantic, and this is a little
I
bit.
have been to the forest, I went hiking there one time,
Mhm.
and it wasn't like, it was starting to get towards dusk, and I was far enough in that I started hearing weird animal noises, and I was like, "I gotta go." Um, I gotta go. So I left, but,
Mhm. So, okay, interesting.
oh, did
Um,
I just fuck something up?
no, not at all. You're going to be interested here. So, the
Eh,
history of the state park is that the establishment began in the 1930s, and the land was acquired through efforts of local citizens and the state park board. And ultimately, it was the Civilian Conservation Corps that was created by Franklin D. Roosevelt uh, that kind of brought the park together. So, the Civilian
really
Conservation.
sorry if you guys can hear, like, noise and shit outside of my window. It sounds like there's, like, a construction site happening, and I don't know why, but it's very loud, at least for me, like, I can hear it through my headphones, so sorry.
It's
Sorry.
fine. It happens. It happens. So,
Anyways,
this program was created by Franklin D. Roosevelt to provide jobs to unemployed men during the Great Depression. So they began to work on the park in 1937, and they started building roads, bridges, culverts, and they created the dam that ultimately worked to create the Lake Raven. Have you heard of Lake
hot
Raven?
damn. Nope.
Cool. No. Okay, I don't
Oh
care.
my god. What the fuck?
I'm going through something. Okay.
So aggressive.
World War II led to a halt in the development, and it ultimately opened in 1956. It has it at the time had hiking, picnicking, camping, and boating. And it's been affected by natural disasters in the past. And I don't know if you remember when Hurricane Ike ripped through the area in 2008. It caused a bunch of damage to the park itself. You
Mm.
don't remember Hurricane Ike?
I remember Hurricane
Okay.
Ike, but I wasn't there for Hurricane Ike.
Oh, you weren't. Yeah. Okay.
Nope.
Interesting. Okay. So it did go through Houston as well. So that's part of it. Um, However, this isn't the only natural disaster. Every natural disaster that went through led to a restoration of what was damaged and then an improvement to the park. So over time, the park has developed what they currently have, which is 20 miles of hiking and biking trails, fishing and boating on Lake Raven, camping and nature study, and they've become a large effort in conservation and environmental education, which is always good.
Woo.
Now, the apparitions that they get. Why can't I say that word? Apparitions.
Apparitions. And you've said it before. I don't know why today it's a struggle.
I don't know. I'm going through things, I guess. They will see apparitions and unexplained sounds. They will see ghostly figures wandering through the woods or near the lake. They will see, and people describe them as shadows or silhouettes that disappear upon being noticed. So they're apparently intelligent. They will
Mhm.
also hear disembodied voices, footsteps, or animals when none are near.
Hmm. Yeah, I do remember hearing like, there were other people out on the trails,
Sure,
so, like, I would hear footsteps and stuff, and I would look around to see, like, if someone was near me, and there wasn't, and I just assumed they were, like, behind, like, the set of trees that I was near, and so,
sure.
like, I was hearing those footsteps, um, but yeah, I remember I needed to pee, and so I took care of my business, and while, I was getting situated to go back up, I heard animal noises that it wasn't like growling and it wasn't like yipping, or barking. It was just weird noises, and I was
Mhm.
like, "Ah, nature," and so I left.
That's fair. So, in addition to the general animal noises, this fucking got me, Whitney, and unfortunately, I couldn't find a lot about it. There's apparently a ghost alligator that hangs out in the
Okay,
area.
so I like they have, like, a sign whenever you're going into it, like,
Uh-huh.
most hiking trails for the most part are like, "Look at our nature, oh my god," and so it'll have, like, a sign that has, like, "In this area, you may spot, a blue-footed booby," or whatever, like, it'll have those kinds of things.
Yeah, sure.
Um, those aren't in the Huntsville State Forest, I'm just that
Unfortunately.
was a fun bird.
Mhm.
Um, but crocodile is one of them that's
Yes.
on there. So are otters, which I thought was
What?
really weird. Yeah,
Yeah.
otters. And then just like normal natural wildlife like
Huh.
squirrels and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, like so crocodile is on there.
Yeah.
It doesn't say it's a ghost one.
So they say that this is an apparition of an unusually large alligator that is described as ghostly or spectral, and it's in or around the waters of the lake.
Huh. And I
Yeah.
never made it to the waters.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. So yeah, when I saw that, I was like, "Well, shit. Now I got to talk about it."
Yeah,
So
well, yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Now I'm like, why is he hanging around though?
Like, what's going on? Maybe he's a protector.
Poor gator.
Yeah. He's like, y'all
Protector or what?
of the lake. Maybe it was like it took it whenever the lake was created. He took it upon himself and was like, "I am the protector of this lake."
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun.
We're
So I
gonna
have no
name him
idea.
Frank.
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 Okay, so the next one, and I should have done these in a different order, but that's okay. We're going to talk about Martha Chapel Cemetery, which is at the end of Bowden Road.
Yeah, that was
A dumb
okay.
timing thing for me, but that's okay. That's how my life is right now. So there's
Here we
not,
are.
yeah, there's not a lot of history on Martha Chapel, but it was part of the early settlement, and it was. Why do I keep saying
What is
sediment?
wrong with you?
I don't think I'm okay. Okay,
Jesus Christ.
it was part of the early settlement, um, and it was the final resting place for a lot of early settlers, and it was named for Martha Chapel Methodist Church that once stood nearby. It's no longer there. And it's likely
Okay.
that it became the burial ground for the church congregation and their families, and it has a lot of local history, of course, recorded in it with the tombstones and all of that.
Now, I feel like I need to ask, and this is probably a dumb question. When you say the burial ground of the churchgoers congregation and everything, it's not like there was a mass event that killed all of them, correctly? Or not correctly, correct?
No, no, it was just
Like just they died and that's where they ended up.
yes, exactly.
Okay, I didn't know if this was going to end with there was a giant fire and like 300 people died in this fire and they were all buried in that cemetery.
No, that's not it. No,
Okay.
that's not at all what happened. So,
But what a great story.
right, yeah. So the apparitions that people see here are figures wandering among the tombstones or standing silently in the shadows, and that's not okay with me. Anytime that they are
They're just
approached,
being respectful.
sure. Anytime that they are approached or observed too closely, like they recognize that you perceive them, they vanish. So,
So it's not that like you walk up to them and you're like, "Hey man, come here often," and they're like, "Fuck," and they disappear. Like that's
no.
like just recognizing that they're there is too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, exactly.
They have extreme social anxiety. Got
Felt. So,
it.
there are whispers, disembodied voices, and there's a gravel path that goes around the cemetery, and you can hear footsteps on the gravel when there's nobody there. Uh,
Okay.
People have experienced drops of temperature, unexplained breezes, touches, they've been grabbed or pushed, they feel dread or a feeling of being watched. Of course, photographs, they get orbs, misty figures, and lights. Um,
See, the feelings of feeling watched or feelings of dread, I feel maybe like, psychosomatic kind of thing.
Agreed.
Like, you're walking in there and you are expecting something to be weird, and so you're like, "Oh, shit," and so you're like, "Oh, things are heavy," and it's like, "No, you're heavy."
Yeah.
Like,
And
stop.
that I think entirely depends on, like you're saying, the energy that you bring in. If you're
Yeah.
standing there and you've brought none of that energy in and you're literally just having like a conversation with somebody and then all of a sudden you're like, there's somebody behind me. Like that's a little bit
Yeah,
more. But yeah, if you go in there expecting to experience something, you're going to experience something.
right.
So, yeah. Uh
Just like I didn't expect to experience anything when I went hiking in the woods, and apparently I
you
did.
did the
I
animals.
just was like, "Ooh, nature's scary," and moved on with my life. At no point did I think it could be supernatural, so it just was like, "This is why you don't go outside, Whitney."
I feel like that tracks so hard with college Whitney though.
Yeah, I'm surprised college Whitney didn't die.
I'm surprised College Taylor didn't die with the shit I
I
pulled,
mean,
like, damn.
so I responded to I was looking for a part-time job, and it was a personal assistant position. I don't know if I've told you this. I'm sure I have.
I
For the
don't
rest of
remember.
you who are not Taylor, who has probably heard this but doesn't remember, so my degree was broadcast production. So I was like, "Well, let me find a job that'll get me like a foot in the door." And this guy, he was like, "I've got great connections and everything. Like I've got all this stuff. You work for me. I could put in good words with all of these people." And I was like, "Okay, sounds okay." And so I went to go do this job. And as his personal assistant, I went to his house and I cleaned his kitchen. He had me, do his laundry, told me to ignore the stains that were on the bed. Um, and then afterwards was like, "Okay, and now you're gonna go outside and pull weeds." And I was like, "What the fuck am I doing? Like, I need to leave." And so I left and I never went back. But yeah, I'm like, "You definitely could have been murdered
Yeah.
because I'm a fucking
Okay,
dumbass."
no, okay, so we were both dumbasses because in college, when I was living in my apartment, 2 guys came to my door claiming to be selling magazines, and it was hot outside, so I said, "Why don't you come in and I'll take a look?" And I let these 2 complete strangers, much older than me, into my house
Oh
and
my
sat there and
god.
looked at magazines, and I was like, "Taylor, you are you were 5 seconds from possibly being
From
raped and murdered."
getting
Like,
getting got, yeah.
yeah, so I'm glad to know that I wasn't the only one that did stupid shit in college, so
But he did say that in front of his house, there is a horse hitching post, and that is one of the original hitching posts of Sam Houston and his army.
oh, that's pretty cool.
So, but that's
But
it.
those stains on the bed, he definitely was a serial killer.
D or just,
Gross.
doing shit. Yeah, it was like,
Yeah,
So, anyways,
yeah.
yeah, don't
Do
meet
stupid shit.
people you don't know. That's right, don't
Yeah,
meet people you don't know.
there you go. Don't talk to
You
strangers, guys.
d don't make friends, live inside, lock the doors, don't pet any burning dogs, take any wooden nickels.
Exactly. Okay,
Okay.
so additional things that happen at the cemetery.
Move
We are
moving away from Taylor and I's haunted lives.
uh,
Um, yeah.
children's laughter, which in a cemetery is just not okay, no matter what. Um,
But if there's children there,
yes, if the children are there and laughing, but I'm not. Children's spirits are kind of a like they're very black and white for me. Like they're either legitimate children or they're demons. Like there's no in between.
but how
So
do you know? Like,
that's the thing. I don't know. I don't like they say that there are children buried in this cemetery, but I haven't been there to actually see child graves. So I'm like, okay. So I don't know. It just
hmm,
gives me the hebos. So the
okay,
next one is the red-eyed beast. And if you remember on Bowden Road, they see red eyes in the foliage out there. So this is an actual
not
creature,
Mothman.
not Mothman, unfortunately. This is an actual creature that is observed in the shadows or among the tombstones, and if you go towards it, it vanishes. So I'm
Mothman would never run away. Just
Mothman.
saying.
Mothman would be like, "Hey, do you need help?" The
I'm here to tell you the town's collapsing.
town's
So,
collapsing. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
there is the legend of the faceless figure. And they say that this is a face, of course, a faceless figure, but he is
No
demonic.
way.
No way. He is
Oh,
demonic
whoa,
in
it's not a
presence.
woman?
No.
Oh. For some reason, faceless figure, I think of, like, it's like a woman, like La Llorona or something, like, without a
Oh,
face.
no, no, this
'Cause La
is,
Llorona, that was her thing, was, like, she wouldn't
yeah.
have a face.
Yeah, no, this is apparently a demonic presence, and it lurks near the cemetery's boundaries after dark. So, like, it's waiting for you to leave and it's gonna snatch you, kind of thing. So,
Gotcha's gonna get you.
gotcha's
Okay.
gonna get you. The next place is Oakwood Cemetery, following with the cemetery thing. This is located, said that there's not an actual address for this. It's just if you go towards Ninth Street and Avenue I, it's near the Memorial Museum, which we're going to talk about the Memorial Museum next. Um, this, I know. The
What?
only history
The
that,
mall
no, the Memorial Museum.
is in the mall, or it
No,
was.
the Memorial Museum is a 15-acre complex.
Oh my god.
Maybe it is
Okay,
the
then
mall, I
it's
don't know.
no, it's the Veterans Museum is in the mall.
Oh, yes,
That
yeah.
this is how
Yeah,
small the
this is a
town
different
is. The
museum.
mall is not a mall. The mall has a store and then a Veterans Museum. So, okay.
Uh-huh. It had a movie theater too. It was bitty.
Oh, it had the best fucking movie theater. You went in there with $6 and you got to see your movie with popcorn and water or soda or whatever for 6 fucking dollars. Not even like credit card, like pull out fucking cash. $6. That was the shit. God, fucking miss that shit.
Whitney's like, moving on, Phil. So
No, no,
there's not a lot
never.
of history on this place. I know, never. Not a lot of history here. It just said that it was used since the early days of Huntsville's settlement, so not a lot there.
Now, what are we talking about again? I'm sorry.
The Oakwood Cemetery.
Okay. We I talked about so many different things, I forgot what we were actually talking about, so.
Yes, it's good. So this is where Sam Houston is buried, and they see figures wandering around the tombstones, or they stand at specific graves. And yeah, they will hear
Do we
footsteps, whispers,
do we
clothing
know
rustling.
who's st do we know who's standing at the
They
stop,
assume
at the like, is it the person who's buried there, or is it like Sam Houston's checking up on his men and he's like, "Oh, good day, Tom." Like,
no, they think it's the people that are either in the graves or people that are close to that person. So,
close to, like, I'm close to you, not proximity close,
right.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
So,
lend me some sugar kind of thing? Like,
yes,
okay.
exactly. Bail me out of jail kind of thing. Um, So they'll hear footsteps, they'll hear whispers, they'll hear clothing rustling whenever there's nobody around them. They, of course, get the feeling of being watched.
Ree, 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 ree.
Oh, goodness. Um,
Okay.
and then whenever they do photographs, they get orbs, streaks of light, and then shadow people in there.
I wanna know, like, clothing rustling. Like, I'm just thinking unless you're wearing, like, a windbreaker or something, like, I don't
So
feel like
they
clothes
say,
rustle that much.
that it's actually the dresses of the period clothes.
Okay, because that's I
Yeah,
was gonna say, like, if it's it would make sense if it's period clothes, but if it's just, like, someone thinks a sweatshirt's moving in the wind, it's not gonna, like,
yeah.
it's just gonna make that weird, like, "flop, flop, 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 flop" sound, like, it's not
Yes,
gonna be anyways.
yes. So the next place is Sam Houston Memorial Museum, which is located
Okay.
at 1836 Sam Houston Avenue. And this is a 15-acre complex, which is the Sam Houston Memorial Museum grounds, which includes the Woodland Home, which is where he lived with his family, and then the Steamboat House, which is where he died. And we'll talk about Boat House
Mm.
next.
Yeah,
So
I really
the
didn't take
history,
advantage of the town.
nope. You were like, I want my degree and I want to get out. I got to beat Taylor.
I wanna get the fuck out. I want I want that, and I wanna get a club sandwich from and I forget the name of it, but it's in the middle of the town. I want a club sandwich from there, and I want fried pickles. That was what I wanted.
And Don Rafa's.
Ah, fucking Don Rafa's. Like, I love Don Rafa's. They sold to
Yes.
underage people, and that's how they got. Not me. I didn't drink
Yep.
underage at restaurants. Um,
I remember getting so blasted there because I chugged my little margarita flight thingy. That was a rough night. So,
it was. I was there. I heard it.
yep. So, the museum was established to honor Sam Houston's life and achievements, and it opened in 1936 to coincide with the Texas Centennial celebrations, which was the 100 years of independence from Mexico. And they say that Sam Houston himself, members of his family, and people that were closely associated with him haunt this place. And they will see figures in period clothing both inside the museum and walking around out on the grounds.
You know what? I would be super pissed if I am now forced to, for all eternity, haunt someplace because I knew you. Like, by association, like, I now have to wander this stupid place. Like, fuck that shit.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah.
haunt where I wanna haunt. I don't wanna be here. God. Anyways.
So they'll also hear footsteps, the sounds of dresses, like period dresses rustling, voices or whispers. Um, they will have objects moving or being rearranged, and this is specific to areas where personal belongings of the Houston family are located. So it's like the family's going in and being like, no, this needs to be here. No, I don't like this. And rearranging stuff, which is something I would do, to be honest. um,
I would do
and
it just to, like, not even be like, "I don't like it there." I would be like, "Ha, ha, ha, ha," and I would move it. Like,
just
just
fucking with people.
just chaos, utter
Yes.
chaos.
And then we have the feelings of being watched, and this is specific to historically significant areas or areas connected to personal stories from the Houston family's life.
Hmm,
Okay.
okay.
Yes. And then we've got the Steamboat House, which is on the same complex. This was built in 1858 by Dr. Rufus Bailey. And the reason that it's named the Steamboat House is because
Thank you.
yes, it resembles the stern of a steamboat. It was very unusual for the time, so it became this kind of iconic house.
I was like, "There's nowhere for a steamboat in Huntsville." Like, I was like that's what my face was. I was like, "Now hold on a second."
Yeah, the entire time, like when I put together my outline for this and I saw Steamboat House, I put in parentheses just 4 question marks anytime it popped up. I was like, I don't know what this means. So,
But it makes
yeah.
sense if it resembled that, but also at the same time, like, why?
Yeah, he just
Like,
really wanted to do something different.
that was a choice.
Yeah, it was a choice. So this is where Sam Houston moved in. He into it in early 1863 and then passed away in the house on July 26th of 1863. So he didn't live there for very long. That being said, he is said to haunt the place. Now, when it comes to the actual haunting of this place, it's not necessarily that they see him. They say that they feel
Mhm.
a strong presence or they attribute unexplained phenomena to him. It doesn't make sense to me that he would haunt an area where he was literally there for like 3 months. That doesn't make sense.
Unless he just, like, really loved it.
Could be. Yeah. But they don't necessarily say that they see him or anything. The reason that they attribute this to him is that his belongings are constantly rearranged. So they think it's him or a family
Hmm.
member coming in and moving stuff around.
What if
So
it's his enemy?
they will see, it could be. It could be. Uh, they see figures dressed in period clothing and they will vanish whenever they are noticed. They hear footsteps and voices, and of course, they feel like they're being watched.
I feel
So,
like I feel like this is like an Anastasia, like,
Yeah,
all the period people, but, like,
yeah.
I don't
For the
feel
dancing?
like if we were there, it would be like a ball, and that's upsetting. Like,
No.
I would want the Anastasia moment, but I wouldn't get
Yeah,
that.
no,
Okay.
you would not. Okay, so let's talk about Walls Unit, or the Texas State Penitentiary at Huntsville. Uh, this is located on 815 12th Street, and it is known for its iconic large brick walls, which is where it got its nickname, the Walls Unit. So Whitney's
Yup.
very familiar with this place, not because she was in
Yeah.
there, but because she drove by it all the time.
Or was I? Not just that I drove by it all the time, like, it's really close to the campus. Um, so when you're on campus and, like, I lived on/off campus, I lived just far enough that they considered it off campus. You can hear the, alarm go off whenever they have a guard change. So, even inside of my apartment, you
Yeah,
could hear it and be like, "Okay, there's a guard change happening." Like, that's how close it is to the campus, which I have a story about Old
they would
Sparky
have.
whenever you get there.
Yes, I'll get there in a little bit. They would also have, if a prisoner managed to escape, they would lock down the campus.
Yeah, except, the professors like to threaten you and say, "Even if there's a prison outbreak, you're still expected to come to class," and I'm like, "Fuck
Which is
that."
bullshit. Like, I would be the first
If
person that
they're
was like, "I'm gonna fail you if you do show up to class. Don't come to class."
Yeah, like, cause I was like, if there's a prison break, like, I am just close enough in an apartment, I am not leaving. Like,
Yeah.
I will starve until that person is found, like, I will not leave my apartment. So, fuck
Yes.
you for being like, "You should come to campus." Eat
Right.
a dick.
Yes.
God damn
So
it.
this is the oldest Texas state prison, and it was established in 1949. 1949, 1849. 1849. I think that my finger just hit the wrong button. Let me
Damn
get up there.
it. Fat fingers.
1849. Good. I'm glad I relooked because I was like 1949 doesn't seem right. Um, so the walls unit was given its nickname for the large red walls, and it was known for, at least early on, convict leasing and prison labor. So basically, inmates would be leased out to private contractors to work until the early 20th century, and then they stopped that because they were like, oh, that's really, really bad practice. And
So
yes,
yes, it's bad practice, but they stopped doing it with the obviously high security death
yeah,
prison walls unit. But Huntsville is made up of like 15,000. Okay, that's an extreme exaggeration, but like there's at least 5 prisons there,
yeah,
and it goes anywhere from like rapists and murderers to like tax evaders. And so like the other prisons that aren't as like they actually would like there was one time I had to go pay a parking ticket. When you go there, all of the homes and stuff are by, of course, another prison. All of those homes, the landscaping was done by the prisoners.
huh,
And there
interesting,
were times that I would drive that's right. I lived on campus, but off campus, and I worked on campus, and I drove from off/on campus to on campus. Anyways, when I would drive to work, and I worked in the criminal justice department. What? Anyways, when I drove there, there would be people in white jumpers, and they
huh,
would be doing yard work and stuff. Not on I never saw them fully on campus, but they would do the landscaping and stuff on the outskirts of
huh,
campus.
interesting,
So,
yeah.
that still happened, just not with, the
The private
murders and
contractor, yeah.
yeah.
So, goodness. So it does have its own agricultural operation that was facilitated by the inmates, and that produced food for the prison and the other state institutions in the area. And
Hmm.
it underwent a series of reformation processes where they tried to, well, I say they tried, they worked to improve the inmate living conditions. They established vocational and educational training programs. They looked into inmate rights and how to solve the overcrowding problem. And then they ended up partnering with Sam Houston State University to provide education to inmates in a form of rehabilitation.
Hmm.
So the activity that they would experience here. And this activity is reported by inmates and guards alike and visitors. So, guards typically don't want to kind of give off that they are feeling these things because it might show a weakness and, that kind of thing. So they tend to be hush hush about it, but the guards are pretty like, some areas they're like, yeah, this place fucking haunted. So
That's fair.
they believe that the what is known as the death chamber is haunted by the inmates that were executed there, and this was the site of all Texas state executions since 1924. So
Damn.
as a lot of people, because Texas is a capital punishment state, and people would experience eerie feelings, cold spots, unexplained noises in areas that are related to the execution process. So, not even in the death chamber itself, but in the areas surrounding it, like viewing chambers and preparation
Ugh.
chambers and stuff. Yeah. Um, in addition, in the death chamber itself, they would hear footsteps, chains dragging, and then they would feel an oppressive atmosphere of despair and sorrow. So, like, enter the room feeling
R-
totally fine, and then depression and sorrow. Um,
Reasonable for what it
yes,
is.
yes. They believe that the red brick walls themselves are haunted, uh, that they contain the residual energy of spirits. So, the stone tape theory. They have seen the guards and the visitors and the inmates have seen shadow figures, they have heard whispers, and they have felt like they have been watched from the wall, like on top of the wall, inside the wall, kind of thing.
Oh, damn.
Uh, there are the ghosts of inmates. Yeah, there are ghosts of inmates who died not by execution, so from violence, illness, or old age. You can see apparitions of them in the hallways and the prison cells. And then they say the guard towers and the cell blocks are also hotspots of activity, so they will hear voices and see figures with no source. Now, the thing that everybody thinks of when they think of outside of the walls is Old Sparky, which is the electric
Good
chair that they
old
used from
Sparky.
1920, good old Sparky, 1924 to 1964. So a total of 40 years in use. And it is thought to be haunted by those who were executed in it. And people will get very uneasy feelings or feel very sudden emotional shifts when they're there. The electric chair is no longer in the prison, it is actually in the Texas Memorial Museum. So,
So they, again, I mentioned how close the Walls unit is to Sam Houston State University.
mhm,
Whenever Old Sparky was in use, um, the lights would dim at the college
yeah,
and come back on whenever,
yeah.
something was happening. So that's a little I cannot imagine just like being in like a math class and like the lights dimming and you're like, "Ugh." Like,
Yeah, like I know what just happened. Like, yeah, that's
yeah, like
horrific.
I just don't think I could handle that. Um,
Yeah.
but a fun story that has nothing to do with Old Sparky, but
Oh,
is
okay.
in relation to the Walls unit. Now I'm just like reliving my college
I
experiences.
figured that's what
Um,
would happen when we did this. So,
it's gonna be so great. Like, oh my God. Anyways, okay. So there is a building. I'm not really sure what it was used for, but it was abandoned. Um, I don't know when,
hmm,
but it's abandoned. And it wouldn't surprise me if it's still there. But if you're driving by the Walls unit, there's this like warehouse building thing. And if you sit there long enough, whenever the sun starts to go down, as soon as the last ray of sun hits those windows, bats start flying out.
oh, crazy.
And so it is just like that is their home. And so you just watch them. You can sit there. We sat there once, me and my old friend from high school, she had come to visit me and we sat out there and I'd rolled the windows down and we waited. And one, it smells like the worst thing ever
Yeah,
because,
that guano is nasty.
yeah. So, but you can also hear all of them and they're just like,
Mhm.
like they're just like squawking and squirking. That's right.
Squirking.
Squirking. But then as soon as that last ray of light hits, it goes whoosh, and they just start trailing out,
That's
going
crazy.
to going to find their stuff. So
That reminds me of the Bat Bridge in Austin when we went and saw that
yeah,
with Aunt Susie. Yeah.
yeah.
So.
So,
That's awesome.
anyways,
Yeah.
continue on.
My remembering from the uh the prison, when we would drive by it, if it was summer or something like that, you could hear the prisoners inside. Just in general, you don't remember that? I remember us driving by and you were
No,
like, "You can hear the prisoners." You rolled the window down and I was like, "Oh, well, that's terrifying. I'm so happy."
I don't remember that. I
You
feel like
don't?
maybe I was like, "Do you feel the heat?" and rolled the windows down. Like, I feel like
No,
that's what I would have done.
that was a core memory. So,
It
yeah.
clearly meant nothing to
Okay.
me, so
No, apparently that was
yeah.
commonplace. So, okay, so let's finish out with Sam Houston State University because this place is
What?
apparently soups haunted. This is
No
the
way.
official address is 1905 University Avenue, and it was opened on October 10th, 1879, with 110 students as the
Damn.
first normal institute in the US. So, Normal Institute was the name for a teacher training college way back in the day. So
Okay.
it just focused on teaching teachers how to do the thing. So after a while, it evolved to expand academic offerings beyond teacher education, and it was renamed the Sam Houston State Teachers College in 1919. And then in
Mhm.
1965, it became Sam Houston State College. And then in 1969, it became Sam Houston State University. So
Yeah,
it's been a
and
bunch of
it's
different things.
still number 1 for, education
Yes.
professors or not professors, professionals,
Yes.
and,
Criminal justice.
criminal justice.
Yep.
Why I went there for, broadcast, I don't know,
Because
but here we are.
you originally wanted to do criminal justice, and then you got into it and you were like, "Nah, nah, fam."
Yeah, but I didn't even go to Sam Houston for
For
criminal
that, yeah,
justice. I was
I know.
somewhere else doing criminal justice and was like, "No."
Yeah. So, the different areas that are haunted in here are, we're gonna start with Austin Hall, and this is the do you know Austin Hall? I'm interested to see if you remember any of these places. So,
If it was not the Mass Comm building or the criminal justice building,
that's
I
legit,
don't
outside of the
like
geoscience building, I mean, granted, I was at my college for 400 years, but, outside of the, 3 buildings I frequented the most, I really didn't know what was going on
and
elsewhere.
even at that, like, it's possible I knew what it was, but they were like, "Oh, yeah, that's the science building," and
They
didn't
didn't call
call
it their
it what it
actual name.
actually was. Yeah,
Yeah,
so it's possible.
that's fair. So, Austin Hall is the oldest building on campus and one of the oldest buildings in Texas. It was, built in 1851. It is
Mm,
haunted by former students and faculty, and people will see apparitions, unexplained noises, being watched. They also think it's haunted by Sam Houston. So, because apparently he played a role in its development. Uh,
okay.
there is the Peabody or Peabody. I, I say Peabody. That's just how
I
we
say
say it down.
Peabody.
Okay, that's just how we say it down here. Um, Peabody Memorial Library. This was built between 1901 and 1902. And there is a benevolent presence of a former librarian there. And students say that they will see, yeah, they will see books moving on their own. They will hear soft whispers in empty aisles, which fits with the librarian thing. But my favorite part of this, they will get the feeling of being gently ushered out the door at closing time.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah, she's like,
It's
I
just
have
they're
work.
just
I have work to do.
it's quiet. I I quiet. I rarely went to the, library,
Mhm.
um, but they did have a coffee shop in there, so I
Yeah.
would get coffee. Anytime someone was like, "You wanna go to the library?" I was like, "For coffee or for studying?" And they were like, "For studying," and I was like, "I guess
Yeah.
I'll get coffee."
I
I
like
just don't study in library. Like, I if I was gonna study, it was at home. I was like, "I'm
yeah.
not gonna go unless it's like a group project," which fuck that shit, but I never, like, was like, "Ooh, I need a quiet place to study." Granted,
Yeah.
I lived by myself, so
True. Yeah. I only went to the library on my campus for I didn't even go to their coffee shop. Well, no, I take that back. I would go get food because they had an Einstein Brothers there. So I would go
Oh,
get
that was in
food.
a different building for us. Like,
Oh,
this
okay.
was their coffee shop. I say a coffee shop. It was like a coffee cart.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, mine was
Like
like a legit establishment in there. Yeah.
yeah, that was a different
So,
building, so,
yeah.
yeah.
I would go hang out in the basement because I was that person. So, um,
Yeah.
but I thought that was a cute little, like, all of these have been kind of horrific up to this point, and that one's just a cute little, the librarian just keeping doing her job.
She's
Um,
like, "Get out, get out. You guys need to go study.
Go
Go,
study
go, shoo."
elsewhere. Elliot Hall was a residential hall, apparently. Um, it is haunted by a former student who passed away in the building, and I looked
Ah,
for a like some more information on this to see if I could find a death certificate. I couldn't find anything. But sometimes if you don't have an actual name, you're not going to find stuff with it. But they'll
yeah.
hear footsteps in empty corridors, and they'll have doors opening and closing on their own. Um, there is the University Theater Center, which was haunted by a spirit affectionately known as Maggie. She was
Okay.
a former student who loved the theater, and things that happen with her if you piss her off for some reason, lights will start flickering, props will move on their own, and weird sounds will occur during performances. So you
Hmm,
have to appease Maggie if you want to have a good thing.
sure.
And then finally, we have the Ravens Nest Golf Course, which isn't necessarily part of Sam Houston, but it's right next to it. Um, this was built on top of an old forgotten cemetery, and they never moved the bodies. So the people that are still buried there are said to haunt the area. And
Well, yeah.
yeah, golfers said that they see shadow figures, they will hear voices and laughter, and there's no one around.
So,
So,
you are missing one haunting
yes,
that I
what?
had looked up when I was there.
Oh, okay, what?
So, in between so there's the student center,
Mhm.
and then next door so there's the student center, and then there's, like, a road for, like, loading and unloading, like, semis and stuff because that's where all the, restaurants and everything are.
Yeah.
So, they have where you could get the loading trucks and stuff, and then next to it was my building, the MassCom building. Again, I don't remember any of the actual names for these, but apparently that loading dock was haunted by a woman. And I don't
Oh,
remember the story about it, but apparently that area of it was haunted, and so they would see apparitions of it, they would hear, voices and everything, but it was like that street in particular where the loading bay was. So, that was
hmm,
on the campus.
interesting.
Mhm.
Very cool. Yeah, that wasn't in my little hoopty of deals. That was a
Well, there
very
you go.
little hoopty of deals. Yeah,
You
that's where we are
got
right
it
now.
straight from the source
Got it
of,
straight from the source. So,
yeah.
so that was our first foray into one of our two college towns, and yeah, I hope that was a nice trip down
Hooray.
memory lane for you.
It really was.
That's
It really
good.
was.
That's
Good
good.
times. I was only there
Good
for a
times.
couple years, but it was good times and I hated every moment of it, but
Uh-huh. I don't know how
good
many times
times.
I would get a text message that was just her shrieking, "I hate this place."
I hate
So
this place.
it
Yeah,
became a thing.
and it's not even that, like, it was, like, bad. Like, Huntsville, it really is a decent town, and it's, like, nice and pretty, like, if you like wooded areas, like, it's
Mhm.
nice, it's nice. But also at the same time, I was used to being in a much larger town, and so I was like, "There's fucking nothing here,"
Yes.
because like I said, they didn't even get a Target until the year I graduated. So, we had a
Yeah.
shitty Kroger, an Albertsons nope, not an Albertsons, a Brookshire Brothers. We
Yep.
did eventually get a Starbucks. We had a Walmart. Fuck that Walmart. And we had like the first HEB ever known to man. I'm sure it's not actually the first one, but it was like the worst HEB ever. Like you walked in and you're like, I know you guys just restocked the shelves, but how is everything dusty? Like it just was old as shit. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I just wasn't, it's not a place that I would like move to again unless I went and it's like more up and coming. So
Right. She would have to go to the
yeah.
Woodlands for anything that she needed that was
Which was
civilized.
about 40 minutes away, 45 to an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You could go to
especially with
Conroe.
traffic.
Yeah, you could go to
Yeah,
Conroe, and Conroe, like, had enough, but if you needed anything more than that, you had to go all the way to the Woodlands, and the Woodlands is also very expensive, so
yeah,
if you were poor
yeah.
college kid,
So,
you know.
yeah.
Well, cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, so if you guys have any towns that you would like us like, if you went to college in a specific area and you want us to look up what you did like, the shit that went on around there, I'm happy to do that. That was always fun. And then we'll be
Yeah.
doing my next episode will be my college town.
Hey, hey, hey.
Yeah, so alrighty.
We could also do my other college towns.
Yeah, we could. I actually do have one of your other ones on the docket, so I will
Okay.
do that because I can guarantee you that place haunted as fuck. So,
Okay. Cool.
yeah.
Cool story, bro.
So, we hope you decide to keep listening.
And we will spook you bitches later.
We'll smoke you later. Bye, Chaz.
Pew, 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 pew.
Goodbye.